Hello, this is Matt Cash, lymphedema therapist with Lily Clinic in Roanoke, Virginia. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Terry. I made a little bit of a blurb about you. And it's Tie-Dye Friday. I want everybody to notice that she's wearing
tie-dye on.
Friday. It's Tie-Dye Friday. A little splash of color never hurt anybody. That's all you people out there that demand dress codes for your therapist. Stop. It's stupid. Anyway, Terry McClanahan, she is a co-owner of Hope for Healing, a durable medical equipment provider, which is DME. And she helps me as a therapist help patients get what they need with compression garments. I'm going to let her introduce herself and talk a little bit more about her DME company, Hope for Healing. And then we're going to get into some questions that I have for her to hopefully help you folks out there, as well as some questions that some of the followers on the Facebook page asked. So let's get into it. Terry, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Wonderful.
It's Friday. Woohoo.
Thank you for joining this, by the way.
Absolutely. Anytime. A little background on Hope for Healing. We're a woman-owned DME company that specializes exclusively in compression garments and related supplies, bandages, mastectomy. My partner and I are both certified mastectomy fitters. I've owned Hope for Healing with my best friend of 42 years. We opened our doors July 1st of 2011 after seeing how difficult and frustrating the process was for patients needing specialized care, specifically compression. Today, we service patients nationwide and have 2 locations in Pennsylvania and Florida. Our goal has always been to provide a personal, compassionate, and efficient experience and also provide ongoing support to all of our patients.
And I could attest that you do an amazing job. As a therapist, and I've been doing this for a few years now. Now I have my own clinic, but one of my biggest headaches as a therapist is to get the products that my patients need. And finding, for any therapists that are watching this, finding the right DME company is such an incredible asset to add to your clinic or to your practice, because they are an asset not only for the patient, but for you as a clinician. So I use Hope for Healing. It's not the only DME I use. I want to be clear about that. There's a few others that I use. And I will also be honest, there's a few that I don't use and will never go back to. Customer service matters and outcomes matter. And what I found with Hope for Healing, their team is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So I'm very happy to have you here. One thing in your introduction, you said that you have offices in Pennsylvania and Florida. I'm in Virginia, but I'm still going to ask the obvious question. Do you have to be in Pennsylvania or Florida to utilize your services?
No. Insurance-wise, we have contracts with Aetna and Aetna Medicare, Capital Health, CareCentrix, which is what you would have to use if you have Florida Blue. It's the third party that they utilize for their DME. Cigna, Champ VA, secondary to Medicare, Florida Blue. We have the National Blue Cross Blue Shield contract, which means that we can take within any state. Even with Medicare, we can take within any state as long as there's not rules within that state that's with the drop ship policy, which there's just a few states that you have to look into, but we have licenses to drop ship in all of the states that we provide services to. And as far as we service all over, I mean, Virginia,
All over.
Yeah, we service all over, and it's definitely spreading and growing and getting bigger, but no, there's not a limit. Brick and mortar only affects Medicaid and HMO plans. So HMO plan, you have to stay within the state, and if you have a Medicaid plan, you have to stay within the DME of that state.
Thank you. I did not know that. That's good for me to know. So another question that I get often, or that I see posed, is my Medicare does not cover compression. Can you please speak to that?
Yes, the requirements for Medicare to cover compression garments, you need the medical diagnosis in your medical record of lymphedema. So basically, you're going to go to the doctors, you have your visit with him, you discuss your lymphedema diagnosis, he puts it in your notes, says that he's going to refer you to the lymphedema therapist because they're the ones that do your treatment and do your garments, and they put that in your medical record. So in order for Medicare to cover, we need those signed Medicare notes from the doctor stating you have the lymphedema diagnosis. Obviously, we need a prescription signed by your physician. It must clearly say that you need compression, whether it's off the shelf or custom. If you're requiring options, that's all going to be on the signed written order. We need the assignment of benefits form that gives us permission to bill your insurance. And then your lymphedema therapist documentation, they're going to send us their treatment notes. That's going to talk about their what they did, what they're referring, if it's custom, the medical necessity for the compression garments, the need for custom versus off the shelf. And all therapists are aware that this is needed and needs to be electronically signed to send to Medicare. But they cover the repairs of daytime per body part and 2 night times every 2 years per body part. And obviously it's unlimited options as long as it's in the medical record and your therapist explains why you need the options. The dining needs are covered. All of the options sewn into the compression garments are covered as long as they're documented in your lymphedema treatment notes, whether it's a silicone band, T-heel, all the option, the zones and everything, that's all covered.
If the therapist says, I really want them in a custom arm sleeve, but then maybe I want them to have one of those inelastic wraps as well for other times, can you mix and match, or
yes,
does the 3 have to be all the same? No,
you can definitely mix and match, but you're going to list why you, in the clinical note, a very brief reason as to why they can't have an off-the-shelf sleeve. And it's usually, most of the time it's for length. I mean, a wrap for the arm comes in the different size lengths, and sometimes the arm sleeves don't as well. They're not long enough. Like I'm sure you see that all the time.
Yeah, or they go way too high.
Yeah.
By the way, an arm sleeve should never dig up into the armpit. I just want to say that for the record. You mentioned that and I didn't know this about you either, so this is pretty cool. So you are a fitter.
I have my certification for mastectomy, and so does my partner. Yes, we did that years ago. I don't do it. Once the LTA started and it was so overwhelming with that, I kind of haven't done it, but we are certified. It's in the beginning, especially with mastectomy, you needed to have a certified fitter in order to provide, you need for the breast forms and the mastectomy bras. And we do that in our Pennsylvania location. We can do it in Florida, but I'm not in the office every day now.
So how does someone get measured for custom garments?
There's a lot of ways you can do it, but in your instance, they once they go to the doctor to get their diagnosis, they're going to schedule with the lymphedema therapist, and then they're going to be evaluated. They can go that route, or they could come into the office to be measured, but that's difficult when you're serving nationally because people don't want to drive. So we rely on our lymphedema therapist to provide all that.
So I'll expand on that a little bit. So I do all of my measurements for knee highs, thigh highs, and arm sleeves. After that, I know my role.
Yeah.
Measuring is such an art. I measured for custom pantyhose one time, and I will never do that again unless I do it every day.
Yes.
But my patient was still serviced because as the therapist, I knew that I wasn't doing a good job with that. So I contacted the manufacturer, and they brought in one of their fitting specialists to measure for me, and we got the problems fixed. So it could be the lymphedema therapist, it could be a fitter, it could also be a fitter from a DME. So there's lots of options based on where you are and who you're working with.
Absolutely. And the manufacturers, a lot of them have fitters out there that are doing this. They're starting these programs where they have fitters that are employed by the manufacturer that go into the clinics and do measuring for the therapists.
Yeah, and I also know that for more rural areas, because I know that's an issue. One of the manufacturers that I use them a lot. They offer, and I'm sure the others do too, I just don't know, but they will do a Zoom and they will work with you to help you measure correctly, and they'll guide you through that. So that's also an option. And with that, if everything is measured and could be custom, does that mean that there's a size for everybody?
Yes. Yes. And if there's a very challenging patient, you send the forms in, and there are people within the manufacturers that work on this to help you. They help the fitters. They help even the educators that are employed within the manufacturer. We all work together, the DME, the therapists, the fitters, to figure out how to get patients in need their garments. We do it every day. We get pictures too of garments to send in to help. So we can do all of that.
Yeah, the skills of the people that make these garments are pretty amazing. I mean, they really are. It's amazing. What if there's an issue with the garment?
As far as like not fitting correctly?
Yeah.
I would say most manufacturers about a 45-day return window. You let your therapist know. Well, if you're bringing the patient in and you're fitting them and it doesn't fit, you're going to send us an email and say, unfortunately, patient, blah, 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 this garment doesn't fit. We need a remake. And then we have our returns department email the manufacturer where they get the return authorization number, and then you submit the new measurements in, and then the patients get their replacements.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring that up is because the pantyhose that I measured obviously was horrible. It did not fit. The crotch was somewhere around the knees. I'll admit that. That's how bad it was. But she was able to get the remake because I messed up, and I learned from that. So life is about learning.
The manufacturers want, obviously with that, it wouldn't work. But if we're talking about like a little bit of discomfort, the material does need to be washed. They recommend 3 to 5 times in order for the material to stretch and soften. So like instantly, if you put on the arm sleeve, say, and it's super tight, you got to give it a little bit of time, not to panic right away. But they're willing to help, and they're really good with returns. All the major custom, same with
I have my patients wash their custom garments 3 times before they bring them to me. One, you got to get the dye out. That's its own topic. But the other thing is what I've been told actually by one of the manufacturers is don't judge the garment until you've actually washed it 10 times.
Yeah,
because so we talked a lot about custom garments. Do you deal with garments that aren't custom?
Yes, we have we do off the shelf too. And the return policy is usually 30 days from the time that you purchase it. Custom's a little bit longer because patients have to usually get back in with an appointment with their therapist to confirm fit. A lot of patients don't like to confirm fit on their own because they're not sure how it's supposed to wear and what it's supposed to look like. But off the shelf, definitely same way. Some manufacturers, push back a little bit if it's like an intimate garment, they'll let it's a return, but if you wore it, they won't return it. But if it was just tried in the office, it's not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at some of the questions that I saw that people posted. And we're not giving any specific medical advice. We cannot do that. We can't assess somebody, but we could give a general kind of information. This individual, this is Ann Hayden, and she mentions that she has a lobe on her right thigh. So a lobe is kind of like I kind of describe them as like a beach ball to a softball, but that kind of size, it is stuck right on the inside of your knee. Typically, they could be in other places, but I believe that's what she's talking about. And she says that she would like something that she could wear while still walking and going to the gym. And I'll answer that one. All the compression is meant to be moved in. But here's the question that she posed that I think is interesting, and I'm curious your response, is there anything for an apron pannus? Can you tell us what a pannus is?
Yes, it's like the skin that kind of hangs over like the thigh area. Well, it depends on the size, but it's the extra skin that hangs over the thigh area, and it can be like very irritating underneath. They put pannus support in garments. You can do it depends. This patient sounds like she would need more of a custom garment.
Yeah, I agree.
Reading. You can do binders and stuff to support the pannus, but from what reading hers, I would definitely push more towards compression. Custom.
So help me understand, because now I need some education too. When you say pannus support in the garment, what does that mean? I haven't heard that.
Well, they would. It's my understanding that, to me, she would go into a pantyhose, custom pantyhose, and they would put like the support within the the waist
So they're
part.
able to sew in more
Yes.
support to that to
Yes.
help lift. Is that the
Yes.
idea, to help lift it? Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's always been my understanding. I mean, I'm not a fitter by any stretch, but that's my
it makes sense to me. So for anybody that's having a hard time understanding, a pannus is kind of like the stomach under your stomach for some people. And it lays on the thighs. For some people, it's extremely heavy. It's a lot of tissue. And if there's edema in it, it's very heavy. And when it's laying on your thighs, it's actually crushing your vessels, both your lymphatics and your vascular system, your veins. And it's actually increasing the swelling in the legs for some people. So getting that pannus lifted and supported, not only is it more comfortable, but it's actually a lot more healthier for the individual's lymphatic system and their venous system. So just it makes sense that they want to lift that, which is what you want to do with any lobe anyways. You want to lift and kind of tuck is kind of the idea. So the next question too, you kind of answered it, which is, do you sell thigh high compression?
Yes.
So just generally, what body parts could be compressed?
I mean, we do everything from, the head garments, the tribute wrap, all the way down to a toe cap. I mean, they have everything.
Yeah. So literally from head to toe.
They have really come up with everywhere. If you could body part, there's a compression for it. I feel like, especially since the LTA.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And there's codes to cover all of it too. The Lymphedema Treatment Act with Medicare and everything, they've come up with a ton of new codes, even recently as far as last year, to cover the extra stuff that they keep adding on. So it's been great.
Yeah, the Lymphedema Treatment Act has certainly been an asset to everybody involved with lymphedema, and commercial insurances too, because now they're getting more pressure to have more. Have you noticed that more coverage from commercial? Yeah, as a result of Medicare. Yep.
Yes, there's people lobbying. I mean, and you can go right on the LTA website and print out the forms and fight. And I recommend people doing that, especially with these Advantage plans, because they don't want to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I again, the whole theme of Lily Clinic's Facebook page is to bring awareness. And the more and I say this all the time, the more we scream, the more we yell, the more we say lymphedema, 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 it becomes more of a term that people hear and maybe start to understand. And if we could turn this word into a household word, I think everybody in the industry, all the patients, all the therapists will be significantly better off. So
great.
Thank you for doing this.
I think what you're doing is amazing. Like I told you that, I'm like, I want to be part of this because I want to help.
So. Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that people that suffer with this condition need more than they're getting. And here we are. So, right. And they're not planned, but here we are. So another quick question, a couple more questions, and then we'll end this. It's an international question. So somebody's from Canada. Do you have any feedback for them? Like, I know you're in the US, so I'm not expecting you to actually know the answer at all, but I'll throw it out there.
I was actually discussing it yesterday with my business partner, and we don't really know. We're not educated on this. I mean, if you would think that the custom garments are made in Germany, they're shipped, like, why can't we? I'm going to investigate a little bit more on that, because right now I don't know if we can ship. I honestly
I would love if you let me know that, because I'm getting messages from Ireland, Australia, the Philippines, Egypt, to name a few, asking questions, and I don't know their policies or anything, nor can I. But if by chance, I would love to.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to get feedback today just by posting it here. Someone's going to email me and be like, Terry, I'm going to answer your question. So putting it out here is great. I need someone to contact me and tell me how I go about doing this. So
and that's the whole thing. That's in this conversation, I've learned 2 or 3 things. I've been doing this for almost 9 years. I know this much as far as I'm concerned. When we are engaging in other people, we are learning, we are expanding, and we're like, oh, I didn't realize I could do this as a therapist, or I didn't realize this was a thing. So we have to keep the conversation going. So I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis and have trouble putting on my Medi compression hosiery. So we're talking about my circular knit with arthritis. Is that a good idea?
Well, my recommendation would be he needs a donning aid. I mean, there's gloves that you can use. I mean, I don't know how to grade the arthritis is, but that's
Right.
definitely something that you want to discuss with your therapist and have your therapist order you some dining aids to assist.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what insurance she has. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not covered. So, I mean, I definitely, this is for Holly, right? Yeah, I definitely think, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely,
Gibbs.
you know, I mean, they make the metal frame donors. The sock is stretched over the frame, and then you just put your foot in it. And they have the Butler style, helps guide the foot and heel into the garment. And then they have the slip-on glide ones, like reduces the friction of the sock and slides on, like the slip-on, like the Arion easy slide. There's a ton of different options. And then of course, you know, the rubber gloves.
Yeah, and I will say, when I teach people how to put on their compression, I always start with, there's more than one way to do this. I'm going to show you the way that I think is the best, but that's probably might not be the way you think is the best. This is a skill set that you have to learn. But then when you incorporate another comorbidity like rheumatoid arthritis, and it's a flare up, that could be a problem. So donning aids.
Yeah, a metal, I mean, okay, I would think a metal frame would work well for her, but it's just the thing of her having the dexterity to put it on the actual frame. We would have to physically see what her limitations were.
There's a lot of challenges with compression. No one here is going to pretend there isn't. There is, but it's also the reality of lymphedema is you need it, and without it, bad things happen. The way that I would, the donning aids, absolutely to start with the RA. I think there's another company that's starting, another garment company. I don't know if you work with them, so I'm going to ask you the question. Do you work with Alta Medical?
They have reached out to me about it, and I honestly have to. He actually was scheduled to fly in to have a meeting with me, and his flight got postponed, and we haven't rescheduled yet. But they have reached out to me. Yeah,
he's reached out to me in the past, and I was in the middle of opening a clinic. I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. Leave me alone. I'm doing something that whatever. But I started to look at their inelastic wraps, and I've requested a sample because I think of this person specifically, this type of person, because those the pull straps have a hole in them.
Yes.
So
we
you
have
could either
samples at the office. So we saw it. It's we have samples. They sent them to us. It's an interesting thing that people love them. It's just hard, incorporating a whole new manufacturer in when you're like the daily life of DME, how crazy and the amount of hours that we work. And it's like, it's a shame because I had the whole thing scheduled, and then it was with all the nightmare of the flying, lately that's not been good.
The same thing is like introducing a new product into my practice is very time consuming for me because I need to learn the product. So I did request a sample because in looking at this, I'm like, this is different than what I've seen in the typical, right? So the point of that too is there's always new products that are coming out on the market. So things are always evolving, things are always changing. And just as the Lymphedema Treatment Act is showing more coverage and commercials are doing better. So what we're realizing is that, again, awareness, the more we're talking about it, things start to improve for everybody. But how could people get in touch with you? Do you have a website?
We do. hopeforhealinginc.com. Our phone number, we have 2 locations. We have 2 emails, and to make it easier, I've just been giving out like my email for people to get in contact with me. It's TERRI@HOPE4HEALINGINC.com. People can reach out to me, and then I can forward the email appropriately. I don't mind doing that. And then we can figure out, where their order needs to go, because we kind of split the map, the Medicare map, the jurisdictions. My Pennsylvania location does jurisdiction A and D, and Florida does B and C. It kind of makes it a little bit easier for us to navigate through the orders that we receive. Same way with like all the companies that we meet with and the reps and stuff. So we split it that way. But the phone number to the office is 407-280-3645. If they wanted to call as well, my receptionist, could direct them.
And I'll link your website when I post this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining.
You're so welcome.
Honestly,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, this was informational, not just for me, but hopefully for some other people. So thank you, Terry, so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. If anyone has no hesitation, definitely reach out. I'm happy to help.
All right, take care.
You take care. Bye-bye.